はい、皆さん、私、東京国際映画祭プログラミングディレクターの市山正蔵と申します。これからですね、是枝裕和監督、クロエ・ジャオ監督をお迎えし、トークセッションを、開催いたします。私が、英語通訳は生沢直美さんと中田志乃さんに、お願いいたします。もし、So if you need English translations, you can, or maybe you have the headset, so we have the simultaneous translation. それでですね、ちょっとお願いがありますが、ちょっとトーク中のですね、フラッシュの撮影は、
Can we refrain
ご控
from
えいただければ
taking
と思います。
photos with flash
よ
during
ろ
the
しくお願いい
session?
たします。はい、それではですね、早速ゲストの方をお呼びいたします。是枝裕和監督とクロエ・ジャオ監督です。どうぞ。
Filmmaker Kore-eda Hirokazu, filmmaker Chloé Zhao.
これがね、本当に苦手でね。
This I'm really not good at. I was fumbling with this on my ear.
どうもこんにちは。
So anyway, hello, my name is Hirokazu Kore-eda,
今
the
ちょっと新
film
作の撮影
director,
中で、
and
今
we're
日一日
still
だけ
shooting our new film, but today I just had to stay open in order to see Chloé-san today. And
交流ラウンジで
so
誰と
this
話したいです
TIFF
かみたいな
Lounge, you know, I'm asked who do I want to
会
talk
議をする
to,
たびに、
and whenever we have a
クロエさんの名前
meeting,
を僕が
I always say I
出していて、
want to meet Chloé.
ようやく実現
And
したという
now finally
ことです。
I'm
今
able
日
to meet
はなる
her.
べく彼
And
女から
so I'd like to try
映画作りについ
and
ても貴
get
重な
her to
話を
talk about
引き出したい
some
なと思っておりますの
valuable
で、よろしくお願い
stories
しま
about
す。
filmmaking as much as possible. So thank you all for joining.
はい、これじゃあ監督、今まで何度かご招待さ
So
せて
we
いただ
have
きましたが、なかなか来れな
tried
くて、
to
今回
invite Chloé
初めて
Zhao
東京
several
映画祭に
times.
来ていただきました。
Finally, she's able to
非常
come
に
to
我々
TIFF,
も嬉しく
and
思ってい
we're
ます。
very
そしてしか
happy
も
to have
ク
her
ロージングフ
here.
ィルムで
And
ハム
also
ネットが
her
上映
Hamnet
さ
is
れ
going to
上
be
映
the
できることになりま
closing
した。これも
film.
本当に素晴らしい映
And
画ですの
you know,
で、
it's a
ぜ
great
ひ皆さん
film.
ご覧になってく
So
ださ
I
い。
hope that you all see
と
it.
いうともで、
And
これ監督に一言ご挨
so
拶をお願いいた
let
し
us
ます。
have Chloé. I'll give her opening remark.
I'm very happy to be here, and I am such a big fan of Kore-eda-san. So to hear him say what he just said was very thank you. Yeah, that's it. Hi.
Okay, thank you. はい、それではトー
Okay,
クを始めます
so
が、
thank you for that.
どう
Let's
しましょう。
begin our
是枝さん
talk
の方
session.
から
So maybe we can
クロエ
have
さんにお話を聞いていただ
Kore-eda-san
きま
ask
し
some
て
questions to
よろしいですか。
Chloé-san.
いいよ。
Is that okay? Yes,
なんか
okay.
でも
Well,
台
but
本にテーマに沿ってって書いてあ
but
ったよ
there's
ね。
この
something
テーマ
about the
僕も
theme
今
on
日
the
初めてこれ見
script.
たん
No,
ですけ
actually,
ど、
I've
テーマ
seen the script the
ない
first time
大
today,
丈
but
夫。
there is
なんか
really no
テ
theme
ー
on
マ
the
1、
script.
2、3って
So
書いてあって。
it's
書い
the
てあるん
one,
ですね。
two, three,
空
but
白になってた。
but it was empty.
It's a script, but
There's a
not written.
もう好きに話していい。
Just
So-
subject. I don't know what is the subject.
あ、そう
Any
なんだ
kind
ね
of。talk is fine.
じゃあ
Yeah, yeah.
フリートークでいいのね。まずは
Okay, then free talk. Okay, let's talk about Hamnet
する
then.
べきだと思いつつ、
Well, I'd
で
like
も
to
ま
talk
だ
about
皆さん
Hamnet,
ご覧になって
but
ないから、
since everybody has not seen it
中
yet,
身については話さ
I
ない方
will
がいいよね
try
って言ったら
not
全
to
然話
talk
して
about the
くれ
film,
て
but
構い
she
ません
said that
よ
I
って言われたんだけど、
can,
怒られそうだから、
but maybe
スト
somebody
ー
may
リー
scold me
全
if
体
I
について
do
は
that.
ちょっと
So
触れないよ
that's
う
why
にし
I'm
つつ、
going to try not
とにか
to
く
speak
感動
about
し
the
たことだ
story
けお
so
伝
much,
え
but
ま
I
ず
would
はお
like
伝
to
えし
say
よ
that I was very
う。試写
moved
室
by
ち
the
ょっとこ
film,
のために
and
お
I
話をす
went
るのに試写室
to
に来
the
ていただいて、
preview film, preview room to
僕
see
以外
the
もう一人二人だけで見たん
screening
で
room
すけ
to
ど、
see the
試写
film
室
with
誰も他にい
myself
な
and
くてよか
another
ったなっていう
person.
ぐら
I'm
い、
so glad it was only this person and
涙が止ま
myself
んなくなっ
because
ちゃって、
I couldn't stop
それ
crying.
は
So,
なんだろうな。クリエイターがというか、もの
So, you
な
know,
ぜ自分の物語
creators,
を書くの
you
か、
know,
なぜ映画を
the
撮る
reason
の
why
か、
we create stories, the reason why we
なぜ
shoot
悲しい話を
films,
書くのか
the
っていう、
reason why
なんか
we
そういう
depict
ことを
sad
すべて
stories, you know,
包み込んでくれた。
it was a film that
肯定してく
enveloped
れたって
all
いう
of
と
that.
ちょ
It
っ
was
と
a
強
film
すぎる
that
かもしれないけ
accepted
ど、
all
あ
of
の
that and
そ
told
うい
me
う思
that
いにさせ
what I
る
was
っていう
doing
か、
is
それはおそら
okay.
く物を作って
And
る人間だけ
I
ではな
think,
くて、
and it's not
あ
just
の
for the creators. I
なんだろう
feel
な、
like
映画館に人が
like
集ま
when
る
you
こ
go
と、
to
人と
having
一緒
people
に
coming
悲
to the
劇を
cinema and
悲し物語
seeing
に
a
触れること、
tragic
その
story
ことも含め
together,
て、とても大きな
everything like it was
テーマを描いて
like
いる
the
作品だなというふう
film
に
was about
感じました。
everything,
まずは
every
こんな作品を作ってい
aspect
ただい
of
てありがと
all
うござい
that.
ました。
So thank you so much for creating the film.
Can I tell them what happened in the other room?
うん。
Yeah. So, and of course, I've been a fan of Kore-eda song for a long time, and I made the mistake of decided to watch Wonderful Life, Happy Afterlife in English, but Wonderful Life in Japanese, this morning before I came. And so when they came to do my makeup, I've been crying for an hour. And when I was in there, and I said to Kore-eda-san, I'm glad to say to you that I feel like Hamnet and Afterlife is very much the same film, because it is about how when we see our lives, whether it's joyful or painful, mirrored back to us, it gives these experiences meaning, and it makes the human experience a little less difficult, because life is not easy. So I would say that it made me also feel purposeful, what we do, why we tell stories. So these people working at the Limbo at Bardo, making memories for the dead, is very similar to William Shakespeare, what he does.
ハムネットの話をもう少し
Okay,
掘り
thank
下げ
you.
るという
So
か
I hope I can
お
dig
聞きしたい
deeper
んですけど、
into
さっき
Hamnet. I
楽屋でちょっと
in
話を
the
した時
waiting
に
room.
でもね、これエンディングの話になっ
Well,
ちゃうんだよね。
I guess this is the
それはまずいなと思い
ending,
ながら。
and I
ただ
can't talk about
な
it.
るほどと思ったのは、
But
あ
I
まりそ
felt
の
like
映画の着地点が最初
so
に決まっ
where
てる
the
わけではなくて、
so
撮りなが
the
ら作りなが
film
ら
did
それを
like
こう
we
監
don't
督が
know
一緒に
how the
探
film
してい
will
く
end,
そ
and
う
the
いう
director is trying to
こ
discover
う
how
もの
the
僕はとても
film
好き
is
なん
going
だ
to
けれど
end.
も、
I like that, and
クロエさんの映画って
and
多分ノマドランド
Chloe-san's
もそうだと思うんだけ
film,
ど、
I
主
think
人
even
公
with
と一緒
Nomadland,
に旅をしていく。
you're on the
で
journey
どこ
with
に
the
物語が
protagonist,
たど
and
り着く
you
のか
don't
本当
know
に
where
人
the
生のよう
story
に
will
わ
end.
か
It's
らない
kind
そ
of
の
like
旅に
life
寄り
itself.
添っていくって
And
いう
but
監督の
you're
目線が
there, you're like it's
すご
intimate,
く
and I felt like your
好きなんですね。
perspective. I
で、
really
そ
like that
の
perspective.
目線は今回
And
もちろん旅の映画ではないけ
also,
れ
I
ど
mean,
も、
this film,
同
Hamnet,
じよ
is
うに
not a
感じま
journey,
した。
but
題
it's
材が
but it is
全くというか全く違
similar.
うに
I mean, it's a
時
different
代も違
theme.
うにも
It's a
かかわらず、や
different
はり監督の
setting.
そのスタンスというのは変
But
わらなかっ
I
た。それが
felt,
とて
I
も嬉
still
しかった
felt
んで
your
すけれども、
perspective, and I was
あの
very happy to see
それを
that
作る上で
that
意識してい
journey.
ることですか？
And is that something that you keep in mind when creating films?
Hamnet is about the internal landscape, as opposed to Nomadland is about the external landscape. And so what Kore-eda-san was referring to, I heard that you can't talk about endings of films in Japan. In the US, I just talk about the ending before people see the film. They're okay. But without giving it away, what made the film work, the catharsis, the big moment that gave the emotional release to the film, was not scripted. It wasn't there 4 days before production was over. So I filmed the ending that was on the script and looking at it and go, this doesn't work. We don't have a film. But I've been there before, and I know Kore-eda-san been there before as well. It's really awesome to find out that he works that way as well, is that when I go into making a film, I never know how it's going to end. I will write it on the page that reads nice, so it gets greenlit and gets money to make the film. But I know deep inside, and often my lead actors know, that it's not there. when you film the direct translation of the ending, it won't give the same impact. So when you ask your actors to come to set every day, to hold the tension between consciousness and unconsciousness, between knowing and not knowing, I feel as a director and a writer, I have to also come to set every day. Know half of the time and not know half of the time. And allow life, which happens on set, to show us what kind of story wants to come through us, not just executing my visions. So just like I heard Kore-eda-san saying that he also watched and what's happening and write the ending as we go. I always wait for the ending to show up, which is very stressful because you're always this little bit from not having a film, but that's how life is, you know. So yeah.
準備不足
Yes, I guess
の言い訳に聞こえると
it's
嫌
an
なんですけど
excuse
も
for not
今ちょう
preparing,
どセッ
so,
トに
but
入って撮影を
but
してい
I'm
て
in the set
残
right
り
now
が
for a
2
new
週
film. We
間
only have
ぐらいな
2
んですよ
more
ね。
weeks
で今
left,
スケジュール表を
and
見ながらこの
looking
日
at the
この役者と
schedule,
この
I'm
役者が
thinking,
い
okay,
る
this
から
day we have these
もう
actors
ワ
on
ンシーン
set.
こういうことができる
Maybe
ん
we
じゃない
can
かってい
do
う
one other scene
そ
with
の
this and
実
that.
はもう
And
ラストシーンは撮り終
the
えてるん
last scene we already
ですけど
have
もそこに至る
shot,
プロセス
but
で
the
あと
process
何が
up
で
to
きる
the
だろうかっ
ending,
ていう
I'm
こと
thinking,
を
what else
撮
can
影
we
のセ
do?
ットの空間
And
に
so,
自分が
when I
立
go
っ
into
て
space of the
役者のイメ
set,
ー
I
ジを
stand there, I
膨らませながらそこで
imagine the
現場で
actors,
台本を
and
書
then
い
I
て
would
書き
just
直し
write
てい
this,
くって
well,
いう作
rewrite
業
the
が
screenplay at
実は
the
とても好
set.
き
And I
で
really like
スタ
that
ッフはみんな
moment.
ハラハラし
The
てると思うん
staff
ですけど
members
も
are like, you know,
そう
really
やって出来
nervous,
上
you know,
が
what's
っ
going to
た
happen. But
ものは
but
まあ
things
間
that I
違いがない
created
あ
in
の
those
やっぱり現場で
moments
発見され
is
たものが
always the right
一
thing.
番
Discoveries you
豊か
make
だなっていう
on
ふうに
the
感じてるんで
set
すけども
is very rich, I think.
ハムネットに関して
So
言う
for
とラスト
Hamnet,
は現
that
場セット
and
でやってま
ending,
したそれとも
did you
編集もご
discover
自分でされてる
that
と
in
思うん
the
ですけ
set?
ど
And I
も
think you
編集
edited
中
it
に発見
too,
することも
or
あり
did
ます
you discover it in the
編集
editing?
は僕は撮影と
Editing,
同時に
I
夜事務所に帰
would,
って
go back to my
で
office
きれば
at
その撮っ
night
たもの
and
を一
I
旦
would
編集
try
して
and
みて
edit whatever
翌
I
日の撮
shoot
影
that day so
の
that for the
変更
next
を出したり
day
もす
I
るんで
can
すけ
see
ど
where I can
編
change.
集
So
は
that's
全
what
部
I
終
do.
わってから
But
撮影
how do you do it? Do you just do editing every day or after everything is
I
done?
sleep. I need 8 hours or I can't work. So no, you edit at night?
毎日そうですね
Yes,
大体やってますね
mostly every day.
You make a film every year. What's your workout, like diet? How do you do it?
どうそうねワークライフバランス
Well,
を崩すってことですか
okay,
ね
destroying work-life balance is my way, I think.
でも
But,
昔ほど若い頃ほど無茶を
But
しなくなり
compared
まし
to
た
my
けども
young days,
やはり
I'm
撮
not
影が
doing, I'm
終わ
not
って夜
going
編集をし
overboard.
て
Like I, I go to
うまくいって
a
ると
set and I go
その
home,
編
I
集した
edit
もの
and
を携帯で撮って
and
スタッフ
and
に
then
いいだろう
also
いいだろう
I
って送るん
can
だよ
shoot it on my mobile
翌日
phone
みん
and
な
I
の
tell
感
my
想
staff,
を
what
聞
do
くっ
you
ていうの
think?
が
Is it good?
多
And
分
the
送られ
next
る
day
方
I
は夜
ask
中に
them
送られてくるか
what
ら嫌だ
they
ろうと思うん
think,
だけ
but
ど
I think my staff members they receive
そんな
my
ことを未
data
だにやっ
at
てます
night and maybe they don't like it, but I still do those kinds of things.
寝ますよもちろん寝
And
ま
of
すけ
course
ど
I sleep.
How many hours do you shoot?
撮影はねすごくルール、現場にたくさん子供がいる
have
撮
a lot
影
of
をしているので
children on this set that I'm working
晩ご
on.
飯の前には
So
なるべ
we
く終わ
try
るよう
and
にして
finish
ま
by
すし
dinner
そ
time
の翌日までの
and
時間を
then
どう空ける
and
かとか
then
それは
see
映
how
的
we would be working the next
ル
day.
ール
So
をきちん
that
と
would
守りな
be
がらの
the
撮影
rules
なの
that
そ
we
んなに
follow this time. And
日本で
so
ルールのなかった時
Japan,
代は本当
when
に
we
撮影
didn't
終
have
了が
rules,
26
the
時で朝6時再開
shooting
みたいな
ended like
いつ
2
寝るんだよ
a.m.
みたいな
and
状況
start
も
again the next day
もちろん
6 a.m. It was like, when do we
自
sleep?
分の現場ではなるべ
But
くそういうことはし
but
ませ
I
んでした
try
けど
not to
も
make
結
do
構
that in
蔓
my
延してた
my shoot.
だ
I
け
mean
ど今
that
だ
that
い
used to
ぶ
happen a
その
lot
辺
in
は
back in the old
改
days.
善されてきたし
Nowadays, I think it's improving, the situation.
僕の撮るように子供
And
が現場
and
に
also
いる
because the
撮影に関
children,
して言うと
especially when
や
they're
っぱ
on
り
the
長
set,
くは撮れないって
I
いうのを
can't
前提
shoot
とし
for a
て
long
スケ
time.
ジュールを組んでいる
And
の
so
で
that I
その
keep
緩
that
や
in
かに
consideration
は
when
なっ
I
てます
make out the timeline. So yeah.
なのでちゃんとみんなスタッフが寝られてるかっていうのが今一番気になる ことなので、そこをできるだけきちんと休みを取りながらとは思ってますけど。
So whether they can sleep or not.
ハムネットは何日間ぐらいの撮影なんですか？どのくらいの期間？
Okay, so how many days did it take for you to shoot Hamnet?
Started end of July and wrapped end of September. July, August, 2 months.
So 2 months.
Yeah. August, September. Yeah. Jet lagged. What's the question? No, but I think the ending. Yes. So I don't touch the edit until film. Never. Yeah, because I don't want the studios to see anything. So that's not true. But I'm also afraid of editing something. This is not a right or wrong thing, but I got an advice earlier on about there's also a downside of editing on set, because sometimes the whole thing isn't a thing until it's all finished. So, and I'm easily influenced. So if I edit something earlier on and it hasn't quite worked, it might change how I want to do things, but maybe it would work if I had the later stuff. So because I'm so easily influenced by everyone around me, it's better for me not to do. But so for Hamnet, 4 days before we wrapped, there were 2 people at the Globe Theater who knew there was no ending to this film. The film doesn't work. It was me and Jessie Buckley, my actress, because the whole film, it's not a spoiler to know that Shakespeare and his wife had a child and he died, and they wrote Hamlet. This is not a spoiler, but the whole thing is about her in the end going to the Globe Theater and seeing the play that her husband wrote, inspired by their son's death. And so when I saw the ending that I wrote, filmed, I said, oh, okay, it doesn't work. And I remember Jesse's looking at me like, is this it? I went through all of this and this is the ending? I don't feel it. So if your actors aren't feeling it, there's a good chance that it's not working. And so what happened was I didn't sleep that night. Jesse didn't sleep that night. And I was also going through a personal loss at the time. So I was in a lot of emotional pain. And the next morning when I was going to work, I was in the car in London and it was raining. And then I looked down my phone, Jesse sent me Max Richter's On the Nature of Daylight, the song. Bitter Earth is a lyrics version of that song. And that song, when I listened to it, that song has been Arrival, it's been in many, many films. It has a very special ability to harmonize your whole body to the world around you. You suddenly feel like one with everything. And as I'm listening to the song, I start crying. And this is a bit of a spoiler, but I saw myself holding my hand out, trying to touch the rain outside the window, because I wanted to reach nature so that I can no longer be afraid of losing my love, because if we're all one, then you can't lose love. It just transforms into something else. Yeah, and when you're in deep pain of separation and loss, you forgot about the oneness. And then I realized that's what we needed it for the film, for the ending. We need that kind of oneness, and that's why the ending was created. So it was very much a collaboration between me and my actress, who also didn't know. When you don't know, sometimes it's the best place to be.
2つ聞こうと思ってたことがあって、
So there were two things I wanted to ask
一つ
you.
は
One,
今、クロエさんは自分が生まれた場所ではない場
so
所で、
Chloé, you are not in
母国語では
the
ない
place
言語
where
で
you were
映
born
画を撮
and
って
you are
いらっしゃ
making
る。
films
その
with
ことの面白
the
さと
language
難
that
し
is
さ
not your
というのは
mother
どこにあ
tongue.
りますか？
And what is the joy of that and difficulties of that?
Well, the joy of that is that you're not as like responsible. You don't have to worry about the. You know, like when I make a film about cowboys, you know, for example, I only saw 2.5 westerns when I made my own western. I didn't have the burdens on my shoulders as an American, and Americans do about making a western. And when I make this Shakespeare, I don't know Shakespeare very well. So I don't have the burden as a British filmmaker. Everything about Shakespeare is so sacred. You know, I just did whatever I wanted. So that's the good thing. And the struggle, not anymore because I speak the language now, but back then it is a struggle because you have this insecurity. You know, when I go to school in America and in England, the insecurity of I actually gave up being a storyteller. I studied politics because I didn't think I could tell stories. I can't write. How can I do it if I don't speak the language? You know. But then, of course, some of my favorite cinema has a lot of silence, and it's a language of how your face moves and how your body moves, and that's a universal language. And if you don't speak the language, you actually develop an extra sensitivity to nonverbal interactions. When you're an exchange student, you know, you're watching nonverbal cues. Actually prepared me to try to capture nonverbal languages in cinema. So what was challenging when I was younger years became a advantage later. Could I ask you some questions? Yeah, it's okay. Huh?
一つだけね。
Only one.
No, I had 3
どうぞ。
questions. I had 3 questions. Well, I wanted, because Hamnet was the first time that not the first, well, because I used this different cinematographer than I have used in the past. And Hirokazu Zhao, he's very interested in still frames. And in my previous films, I was in my 30s, I made them, and I was very much about chasing as many horizons as possible. So it's about going wide. And where Hamnet, I was interested in how can we confine everything into one frame, one stage, one room, so that the water can go deeper. It's about containing, where my previous film is more about expanding. So I see in your films, I always find the frame are very much like the backdrop of a theater. And, I think in Japanese cinema in general, it comes from, there's a lot of incredible tradition of that. So I wanted to ask your process. Do you get to set and or do you build it with those things in mind, just in general, your process?
今日々やってることは、
So what I'm doing now every day
僕は
is,
今回でいうと原案を考えて、
so I have the
脚本を書
original
いて、
idea,
そして
and then I
編集
write
も
the
してるんです
screenplay,
け
and
ど、
then I do the direction and the
撮影
editing
の
as well.
前
But
に
before
一
the
応
film
この
shoot,
ストーリーボードという、
there is a
こんな風
storyboard.
にこのセットで人が動きますよ、
Like,
こん
so
な絵を
there's
撮
a
りますよ
set here,
って
and
一応
there's a
作り
people
ま
moving in
す。
this way. I
作
make
りま
that
すけ
kind of
ど、で現場に入ってとりあえず
storyboard.
お芝居してみ
But
ま
when
し
I
ょうか
get
っ
into
て
the set, and
始
then
め
we
ると、
try the
今
acting,
組んでるカメラマン近藤龍斗という、
the cameraman is
ショップ
Kondo
リフターズ
Ryuto.
と
He did the
解説と
shoplifters and the
一緒にや
monster.
ってる。
He was the
舞子さんも一緒にや
cameraman
って
for
るカメラマン
shoplifters
なんだ
and
けど、
the monster.
大体僕のカット1のポジションと違うところに近藤さんがいる。
So Kondo is in different position than the cut
僕
one,
が想
which I
定した
consider.
ところとは違
So
うところからお
he
芝居見始めて、
starts to see the action
ちょっと
in
ドキドキ
from
するじゃない
different
ですか。
position than I thought. So
で、近
that's
藤さんの
thrilling
方か
for
ら見て
me.
みると、あ、こ
And when I see from the Kondo's position, I feel like, oh, this is right. So Kondo-san in himself has this. He's also considering where the camera would go, where the direction want the camera to go. So where the direction want the camera to go, and we don't talk about that too much, but we know. We try to understand each other's point of view, and I sometimes agree with the cameraman and say, okay, so let's position the camera here and then move the actors in this way. So without talking with each other, we are kind of discussing with each other, and then we decided the cut one. And so that's what we are doing every day, and this is very fun. So if it goes as the storyboards goes one by one, and then it wouldn't go to the goal. And it just, it's just you're trying to complete the schedule, and that's not fun. So what I'm doing now is very creative, and it's very fun for me now. That's the process that I'm doing. I'm using now. So of course, if the movement changes, the dialogue changes. So I rewrite the screenplay. I don't take it to the set, but I just write this dialogue over there and shoot that scene.
And what's your relationship like with your actors?
Good relationship. So how much they will respond to me at the set, respond to the change. If they enjoy the change, then I think that is good for me. And one of the protagonists is the comedian Daigo of Chidori this time. So she has never tried acting before. But like constructing the comedy, I think, I don't know, it's similar to that or not. But I just decide the points and let him move freely between those points. When I talk like that to him, well, he can just move in a very interesting way. So I don't decide all the action for him. So it's not like I'm instructing him. I'm just suggesting to him, and it is working very well now. So it's not like my way of doing. It depends on what kind of actor that actor is, and so depending on what kind of actor that person is, I try to seek for the language and how to communicate with him. So I try to seek that.
Because I always felt the performances in your films and TV series, because I love cooking for Michael House so much. They're so naturalistic, and it feels like there's all these spontaneous moments. So yes, I love it. Because I know you were in documentary at some point earlier on.
してました。
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
はい、その経験は多分その撮影の現場で発見していくっていうことに、まあ、生きてるんじゃないかなと思っていて。
Yeah, so I think this experience of documentary film is actually why I know how to do it at the location. So it's not a documentary touch, but what is happening in front of you is what you capture, and then you utilize that to craft things or create things. And what is happening there, what is fun or interesting about what is happening there in front of me, you should capture that. And I think I can capture that because of this documentary experience. And about your film, you have, of course, you made the Rider, the feature film, and of course, Nomadland.
プロフェッショナルではない人物にカメラを向けていく。
So you were capturing the people who are not professional.
そのことをフィクションの中で
And within the fiction,
にどういうふうに取り入れていくのか。
how you try to include that in the fiction, how you face with these people, non-professional people, how to make the fiction. So what is the same, and also what is interesting about so capturing the non-professional people, but and make it a fiction?
向き合われてるなというのは。
Because I feel like you're really faithfully looking at everything. So just wanted to see how you thought.
I hope I understand the question. I like meaning like why make a fiction instead of just documentary? Yeah. Yeah.
大丈夫それで。
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think documentary filmmakers are very brave. I don't actually. I'm sort of exploring making one now, but I always find safer for me to make fiction. I think when you're making a documentary, you're saying this is me and this is the subject. That's it. You are. And Werner Herzog is one of my favorite documentary filmmakers. Yeah, and he has no fear of looking at someone who's on death row. In this film Into the Abyss that I love very much, and he can capture filming this person and having this interaction. I haven't found that courage in my 30s to do that work. I also find that in America, in marginalized communities, let's say on a Lakota reservation or people who lives in their vans on the fringe of society, often they are treated with the news and journalism studied as a subject, as a social issue. And often these cameras are rough, these digital cameras. And they're filmed under very unflattering lights. But if you are with them in their lifestyle, you are exposed to the most beautiful landscape of America. And also cinema, I'm specifically speaking in America, in the West, our cinematic treatment, these painterly images are usually because circumstances of history are preserved for certain demographic of people. And so it was very important for me and my cinematographer to capture these faces who has not given the same cinematic treatment at the golden hour, which is, or the blue hour. You know, we call it God's light, because as the sun is setting in that time, everything blends together. There's a feeling when you watch the sunset, that's why you suddenly feel like you can feel some bigger power beyond you, because the edges around things blur. The light, the quality of the lighting make us feel like we're one. And that kind of sunset and sunrise, these people who aren't in big cities or have the privilege, many of us do, are actually experiencing on a daily basis. And it's very important for me and my cinematographer to make our audience understand through poetry why this lifestyle is important to them. So there's both reasons of me not being brave, but also I think it was important to tell truth, speak through poetry, because sometimes poetry can capture truth better than facts can, because it's an emotional truth, not just factual.
So when I saw Nomadland, I just remembered right now that film, that because of economical downturn, it was a social problem where we had like home or houseless people. And then there was the line that says, your home is inside your heart. I think there was a line like that in the film. And I think it's kind of like, it resembles the pioneers, the American pioneers, the way they live. And I think there was some mention about that in the film. But there's that beauty that they are only seeing, And I think it resembles what you were talking about. So it's kind of like the, morning sun, evening sun, and the people in these marginal lives, and then there's also people that live in, the big cities. We forget how that was, how that light is seen. And so, yeah, it just made me remember those things. And Western, I've only seen, I've only seen 2 Westerns, but I think you were able to show a very beautiful horizon. And anyway, so what was the 2 Westerns you saw before Nomadland?
2.5. I finished the third one, so I'm not going to tell you which one that is. I saw Unforgiven, which I absolutely loved. And love. I saw The Searchers. And then those 2 I saw. But after I saw Jeremiah Johnson, which is incredible. They're all the revisionist Westerns. I did really love HUD and Red River. So I did go watch more Westerns and like them. I want to ask you, because when we talk about just the simple things of daily life, and one thing I love about your films is that I remember whenever life gets really crazy, I'm always giving the advice of just try to do your laundry, make a sandwich, chop wood, carry water. And that's why I feel like people responded to Nomadland during the pandemic, because it's like, let's just do the daily things, making coffee and fold laundry. I feel like in your films, it has that comfort of the details of how a person just lived their lives. A lot of times cinema skip that part. It just focus on the only the highs and the super lows, and it just forgot the thing we do 80% of the time. But what's interesting is that in your films, it invites us into the comfort of these daily rituals. But through that, it goes very deep, and it catches us off guard. And it often hits me, at least for me, like a tsunami, the emotions. So it's not the kind of emotions that is, you can emote the audience with cheap tricks. But the way you're doing it is it's like some kind of ritual, and it repeats, it comes in the loop. And then when it hits you, it's in the body. It's almost like you get the viewers into their body by this meditation, and then you make us feel things in our bodies, which we don't usually do. Do you think about any of this stuff?
Well, thank you for that. Just showing these little things in daily life and showing the little ups and downs of emotion. And that, and if I can create a story out of that, I don't know how much I've been able to do, but I try to go through those little processes in life when I create a film. So thank you.
To say more. Okay, how about this? What do you think about life? Like, what's your philosophy? Because your films are existential. They're existential because you clearly are trying to understand. What's your philosophy about life?
Okay, it's like, work-life balance is gone from me right now, and I have 2 films. Last year I didn't have a film. This year I'm having 2 production sets. So basically, I'm only working right now, and It's not like I don't like it. I think my body likes that nowadays, but it's not for everybody. I tell everybody else, you don't have to do whatever I'm doing, but basically I'm just shooting the movie, and that is what give me so much joy. And I don't know if I should say this, but that I don't want people to think you have to be like that to be a film director, But for me, that is the fun part, and I can't lie that it's fun. And so young people or the young crew who are maybe aspire to become directors, I'm maybe kind of like the grandfather after 60 years old, like this old man, having fun with the movie. That is the kind of impression I want to create. And I want people to think, oh, maybe movie, filmmaking is fun. Maybe I might want to be one. So I would like them to feel that way when they see me. So that is my work and that is my life.
Thank you. And,
いや、それはね、ダメ。これあんまり
No,
そんなに褒めちゃダメだ。
you can't compliment me too much
いいと思ってやってるけど、今本当それしかできない。
because that is the only thing I can do.
止まらなくなる。
And I can't stop making films.
だから、
So,
自分ちょっと悩んでる。
so that's why I don't really know yet. Like, I mean, this is not a place to tell people my problems here, but
well,
but maybe we're running out of time.
Oh, wait, hold on.
はい。
Just one quick.
もう一回あんの？
Another one, okay.
There. When you were talking just now, if you were my actor, I sense a beautiful bittersweetness. Like bittersweetness, yeah. And just like in Afterlife. The people, because when I was watching, I'm jet lagged, so I was watching at 4 a.m, and I was crying because I thought I would not choose a memory and stay there myself. For those of you who haven't seen the film, if you don't choose a memory, you stay in the middle place in limbo, and you keep helping those who are dead to form. You keep making films of their favorite memories so they can watch and take that memory to eternal life. Some of them choose to finally leave, but there are characters who choose to stay in that place. And I cried behind this little divider as soon as I met him because I said, maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe life, maybe I'm afraid of life still. But some of my favorite memories in my life is actually while making belief, while making fantasies and was not real for other people's memories. And I might, and William Shakespeare, when you see the film, you will see that he is also a man who have a lot of trouble connecting and communicating in real life. But when he's on his stage, he can connect with everything, right? So there's a bittersweetness to many of us who chose to be a storyteller because we might have had trouble just be here. And but that's how life is. It's bittersweet. So thank you for sharing that. I felt it in your work. We can stay at the limbo together.
はい。今ね触れていただいているのは僕の 1998
So it was about my film that I made in 1998. The title is Afterlife in English.
でない方の方が多いんじゃないかと
And
思
I
いますけど
suppose not
も、
many people in
な
Japan
ぜ
saw
か
that
日本よりもアメリカですごくこう
because it was actually rather than in Japan, there were
い
many
てね、
people, filmmakers who
未だ
loved
に
that
その
film
30年
in
近く
the
前の映画なん
United
ですけど、
States. So it's the
僕
film that I made about 30
アメリ
years
カ行
ago.
くとアフターライ
But
フが
when
好
I
きだよって
go
言ってく
to
れ
the
る人が
United
すごく多い。
States, there are many
不
people
思
who
議な
say, "Oh, I love Afterlife."
広がり方をし
So
た
it's
映画
kind
なの
of
で、今こうやってま
it's
たそん
wonderful
な
that
昔
it's
の作品
spreading
を
in that way.
語っていただ
And
けるとちょ
now
っと恥ずかし
Chloé
い
is
さ
talking
もあるんです
about
けど、と
this
ても
my
嬉しいで
film,
す。
and I'm a little
で、
bit
映画自体
I'm
はやは
shy,
り
but
そ
I'm
の、
very glad as well.
当時自分がまだ最初に書いたのは20代
So
28
when I
歳の時に
first
書い
wrote
た
the
本だから、
screenplay, that was when I
こ
was
の映
28
像を
years
作る仕
years
事
old.
が持っている、背負っている、要するに他人に、
So-
他者にカメラを向けるという
So
行
to
為自体が
this action of
持っている、
capturing someone with the camera, this kind of action,
ある、今言った、今おっしゃられた、
This-
どこかちょっと寂しい
a
感じっていうん
little
ですか、自分
sad
の人
or
生がどこかに置
bittersweet
き去りにされてしまっているっていう感覚を、
work. It's like my life is
どういう
somewhere
ふうに
else.
克服していくのか、
And how you
映画を作り
overcome
続けながら
that kind of
作品を作り続けながら
bittersweetness
どう克服してい
as you
く
make the
こ
film
とが
is
作り手には可能なのか、
actually
そんなことを
important, but is it possible for the
20
filmmaker
代
to
で
overcome this
感じながら作った映画だったので、
bitterness? And that's what I felt when I was making a
で
film
も
when
や
I
っぱ
was
り
in
その
20s.
問題ってきっと
So I think that
50代に
problem
なっても今僕60過ぎま
continues
したけど、60代にな
even
っ
if you
てもどこ
become
か
in
で
your 50s and I'm in my
感じてるので、
60s, but I'm still
それ
feeling
は
that kind
決
of
して
bittersweetness and the
ネガティブにではなくて、
problem, and not negatively.
で、最後までそれはそこに開き直らずに、そういうものなのだって開き
I
直らず
wouldn't
に
just try to
作り続けてい
think,
きたいなと
well, but it's just the way it is. But I just, want to consider about this and continue making my films.